Over the past 10 years, I have obsessed over math and more specifically Singapore's math education system. From scoring straight A's myself as a student to now running my own math tuition center where I have taught over 150 students over the past 2 years. And while studying a math-intensive degree in computer science, I have made it one of my life's mission to help as many Singaporean students score A1 for math. But before I talk about my exact system as to how I helped over 150 students over the past 2 years score A1 for math, here's a brief introduction as to how I even got here in the first place. So it all started around May, June, July last year. In 2024, I first started posting on TikTok about my math tuition services. And back then, I first started out as a one-to-one tutor where I would go down to my students' houses and give them one-to-one tuition and help them. And I primarily only took on Sec 3, Sec 4 students who were taking E-Math or A Math. But then my DMs were flooded and there were a lot of messages coming in and people asking me whether they could tutor them. And I quickly realized my time was limited and I was not able to take on every single student in a one-to-one setting. But since I had an overwhelming demand of requests of students wanting to get tutored by me, I then opened up my first batch of online classes where I personally tutored over 100 students within my online classes every week. And I started to then open up physical small group tuition classes at my first initial tuition center, which was just an office in an industrial area. And then slowly but surely, over the next few months on TikTok, my presence grew. A lot more people got to know about me, and eventually I started to open up more small group classes to the point that I realized I needed an actual tuition center to host all my students. Which brings us very nicely today where I'm running a math tuition center here in Singapore where I currently see and tutor over 80 plus students every single week at this tuition center. After having done TikTok for the past 2 years, I decided to now come onto YouTube today, and from today onwards I'll be posting videos to help Singaporean students, both secondary and JC students, specifically to crush math exams. In this video, I want to give you a brief overview of my system as to how I helped over 150 students in Singapore score A1 for math. For both E-Math and A-Math, I have helped and seen many students go from F9 all the way to A1 within a short span of 3 months. And yes, this system works and will work for you as well if you decide to implement the steps. Now, the first step as a tutor myself is that I understood that every single student's progress at starting level is different regardless of whatever secondary level or JC level they are at. As much as possible in all of my classes at my math tuition center, I try to tailor every worksheet to each student's difficulty level. Which means that some students who are slightly weaker will get the slightly easier worksheet, whereas the students who are slightly more advanced and slightly more confident in their fundamental concepts will get the more advanced worksheets. Now, why was this such a crucial factor in helping so many of my students at my math tuition center to score A1? Number one, when it comes to math, you need to understand your fundamental concepts to the core. And by tailoring worksheets to every student's difficulty level, I am still able to go through every single fundamental concept with all my students in my classes, but at the same time give each one of them the specific level of challenge that they require to learn and progress and advance to the next level. Another thing I do in my classes is that I always dumb down explanations in my own words as simply as possible without ever referencing to any textbook. You will never catch me using any textbook in my classes when I teach, simply because I wholeheartedly believe that students come to me in order to get personalized explanations and a mentor that helps them break down complex concepts into simpler ones. So how can you actually apply this in your own revision? Step 1, acknowledge where you are in the learning journey. It's perfectly okay if you're still not able to tackle the intermediate to hard questions. It's totally fine to start from the beginner questions. But you need to make sure that you are able to solve all beginners' questions and make sure that your fundamental concepts are all crystal clear. Depending on the method that works best for you, choose to create your own notes, you can choose to create mind maps or even do summary sheets for each chapter. But the point being is you need to know what are your fundamental concepts for every single chapter for the syllabus in order to succeed. Which brings me on to step 2 of this system. At my tuition center, when I teach my students, I really focus on the 20% that generates 80% of the outcomes. The realistic constraint that I face at my tuition center is that I only see my students for 2 hours a week. So in that 2 hours, I need to make sure that it's well spent. And that is why when I was formulating this system, I quickly realized that the roadmap to scoring A for math simply just comes down to one of these 3 things. Number 1, mastering the fundamental concepts to the core, which is what we went through in the last step. Step 2 is being able to spot and apply the fundamental concepts in the context of specific questions. And the last step would be to be able to work under time and examination pressure. That is why at my tuition center, I have come up with a range of initiatives to support my students in this regard. Number 1, I frequently give time quizzes whereby I allocate 1 mark to 1.5 minutes for every single student. By periodically giving them tests, this trains them to withstand the pressure of examinations and think critically under pressure. Also, to support my students outside of class, I've created a 24/7 learning portal for every single one of them, where they will be able to log in and see the step-by-step method as to how to solve every single question type from scratch. This helps me to drill into them how exactly to spot and apply the basic fundamental concepts that they learn in class, even outside of class. Undoubtedly, this has been proven to be extremely effective, as my students have really gone from F9 to A1 in record time. So how can you exactly apply this for yourself? Number one would be to develop the habit of annotating questions whenever you tackle any new question in your own revision, in your homework, in your own practice. Annotating questions allow you to see what concepts are being tested, which allows you to link back to whatever you learned in the fundamental concepts and draw the link between what you learned and what you're going to actually apply. And the second thing would be to constantly give yourself time limits for the practices that you're going to do. Depending on how many marks your worksheet has, take that number of marks times 1.5 minutes, that's the amount of time you have to do your homework or your worksheet. And step 3 of this system might sound a little bit contradictory to step 2, but step 3 is important if you want to ensure success in the long run. And step 3 is to understand that it takes time. As a math tutor myself, I understand that it takes time for students to learn, apply, and for their results to improve in examinations. And that is why at my Math Tuition Center, I focus on developing an interest in my students towards the subject rather than just purely focusing on whether they get the question correct or not. Because when you are truly interested in the subject, you will naturally spend more time on it. Your natural curiosity will lead you to understand how concepts work in the first place, which will naturally lead to a stronger understanding of your fundamental concepts and being able to apply them in the examination context. There's a saying that goes, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man how to fish, he eats for life. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do at my Math Tuition Center. Instead of focusing on the short-term wins, I focus on the long game. I focus on making math so interesting for my students by dumbing it down and explaining it in words that they can understand so that they feel like it's easy to do. And when they start to stack up those small wins of getting questions correct again and again and again, that is where they will really see the power of this system and start to treat math like a hobby rather than a chore. Well, it's only been 2 years since I started tutoring, and I must say that I really enjoy it. Over the past 10 years of being a student myself and over the past 2 years of being an official tutor and running this tuition center, I have spoken to many Singaporean parents and students, and I wholeheartedly enjoy it. And I acknowledge that I'm really blessed to have all these opportunities. So subscribe if you're new here. If you're a parent watching this, you can expect more videos like this whereby I give you systems, methodologies as to how to help your child improve quicker in math. And if you're a student, also subscribe because I'll be releasing crash courses on this account and going through specific test papers from specific schools in the upcoming videos. And you will want to watch them because I will be breaking down each question to show you exactly how to solve them. And if you want to get tutored by me personally at my Math Tuition Center, make sure to click the link under this video to check out more on them. You will be brought to my Math Tuition's website where you can basically see all my classes, schedules, timing. If you'd like to come in for a trial, that's also possible as well. So go and click the link in my bio right below or go and WhatsApp the number on the screen over here, get more details and web chat with me on WhatsApp directly. If not, check out this video over here if you want to see how I personally consistently scored straight A's for math throughout my entire life here in Singapore.